Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to continue our playthrough of Kingdom Death Monster. We are experiencing the Dream Keeper campaign. Last time we were on our way to go fight the Smog Singers. I have had a chance to paint them all up, so I've got every one of them ready to go here. This is one of the Smog Singers ready to go with some cool looking gold fins. I kind of painted some gold fins on them. I thought that'd be kind of neat. And on top of that, give them some icky stuff going on here and some of the smog coming out of them as well. Now, sadly, I am not the greatest at putting models together. As you can see, if you have these models yourself, some of these Smog Singers are lacking some of the smog on the back of their bodies here because they broke off while I was trying to put them together. But that's okay. They still look kind of cool. I also was able to get the Scout done. The Scout is all painted up and ready to go. So we have our Scout miniature along with the rest of our troop from our campaign. It's time to dig into the Gambler's Chest. It's time to take on the Smog Singers. And if you think our brave survivors can do it, then I need you to meet me at the table. Once there was a siren that breathed life into the world with its song. Drawn by its music, many came bearing malice and greed. Yet still the siren sang, for empathy was its muse, and from such passions wove its memorable melodies. Here is a picture of the Smog Singers. They are sitting around the smog incense, creating some melodies. Let's see if we can take them down. The Smog Singers are a smaller based creature. They do have a back here, and they have a song of smog as their instinct. It says the monster moves 3 spaces away from as many survivors as possible and assumes a peaceful pose. The monster is knocked down. If you wound a knocked down Smog Singer this round, you gain an additional guilt token, and I'll talk about those in just a second. We've built up our character just like this with 8 basic and 4 advanced. I've added these to the board, and we'll talk about those in just a second. Performing arts, song cards, bloody hands, and vibration damage. Our, of course, Smog Singers have 6 movement and 7 toughness. Here's the showdown setup. We have our Smog Singers in the middle there. They will be facing the center of the board where the incense terrain card is. And it also says that one random terrain card will be set up normally. The random terrain card we have drawn is going to be the ore vein. So I'm going to place that out there as well. Then we're going to place all of our survivors in either the blue or purple zones. Survivors in the purple zone will gain a guild token on arrival. I'm going to guess guild tokens are bad. We're going to go over those in a second. So I'm going to put our characters in the blue zone here. At this point, we're going to deal a random song card face down to each of our survivors, archiving the rest, and let's take care of that. And I'll talk about the characters moving forward here. Here's our first person. This is Rand. Remember, Rand is having -1 movement, so that's, or a couple movement here, so that's no good. But he does have some other things going on. He has the dart since he's not going to be able to move very fast. And like I said, everybody's going to be gaining a song. Now, I also mentioned guilt tokens. We have this thing called Bloody Hands. It says whenever you wound a monster, you feel terrible and gain a guilt token. You're only guilty when you have 3+ guilt tokens. And from how I understand it, there's going to be cards that are going to deal with person who's most guilty or person that's least guilty, things of that nature. That is what guilt is. From what I understand, it's not a stat that's going to affect you all the time. It's going to be something that's going to happen during the game. I could be wrong. We have these song cards here. We're going to mix these up. We're going to give 1 song to every person face down. And now that Rand has his, we'll move on to our next character. This is Lelia. She is new. She's got some awesome things here. She's going to have that glass dagger. She's also going to gain a song. We'll again mix these up a little bit and we'll give a song to her and move on to the next person. This is Egwene. She's kind of our tanky person. She's got all of the rawhide gear here, and she's also going to gain a song. I'm running out of space to put things for her, but that's okay. I'll just put it right here. I'll put it right in between there. There you go, just like that. Last but not least, we do have Perrin. He's got that Croc-born hammer, and he also gets a song. We'll give him a little mixy up here, and we'll put it right there. This is our scout. This is Nynaeve. I don't see any reason why she also wouldn't gain a song. And also, let's talk about our two different things out on the board. First, you have the Orvane. We can roll a d10 if you're carrying a pickaxe. Instead, roll 2d10 and add the results. Depending on which result is, you may find something. I have to set this up at least 6 spaces from all other terrain pieces on the board. Then the other one we have is this. This is Smog Incense. If a survivor moves through, they suffer event damage to their body, and roll a d10 on a 6+, they are knocked down coughing. That's terrible. I could scavenge. I can roll a d10, and then based on my roll, I might be able to gain something. It does say it can set up anywhere, but for this particular fight, since we are fighting the Smog Singers, it does give you a specific place to put it, which is in the middle of the board. Here are the two cards we were supposed to put out for our Smog Singers. The first one is Vibration Damage. It says this damage permeates ruining armor and organs alike. Do not roll a hit location die. This cannot be dodged. I'm going to add the damage of all this to hits together and deal it to hit locations of my choice, 1 point at a time. After you suffered this kind of damage, you're going to archive all fragile gear. So hopefully I didn't bring any with me. I'd have to look to see what is fragile and what's not. Hopefully nothing. And then at this point, we also have Performing Artists. It says Harmony Cards. When a Harmony card is drawn, each monster performs it one at a time. The monster controller chooses the order. Now, I don't have a monster controller in this particular environment because I am playing solo. It actually does recommend not to use the monster controller. So I will be able to choose kind of what order they go and how they go. It's kind of because I'm playing by myself. It says persistent injuries happen only once. Continue the harmony for the other monsters. The instinct does not cancel the harmony. And I believe the reason they want to bring this to our attention is because this, of course, does tell us that the monster is knocked down. So the harmony will continue even though that monster is knocked down. Our board is all set up. Our survivors are along the side. We have our Smog Singers in the middle. And if I did, I could have decided to start over on this side. And I would have had my back, or I would have been able to maybe get a back attack on some of these. But I'm not going to. We're just going to go straight from here. I put our Orvane here. It has to be 6 away from all other terrain. That's the only other terrain on the board. At this point, we're going to draw our first AI card and see what happens. Now, you do have to know I am moving into this combat completely blind. I have no idea what these are going to do. So if I do make any errors on any of the hit locations or the AI cards, please let me know in the comments below so that I can make sure that everybody watching these videos in the future can be able to learn from these as well as enjoy them. Now it's time to see what these monsters are going to do. The first one is going to be Plea for Life. It's going to be the closest threat. Closest survivor, no target songs of Smog. So we're going to have to do one for each survivor. We're going to have to do this for, each one of the Smog Singers. It says intimidate target. The monster turns to face the target, extends its arms across its rotund gut, offering its empty hands and lowering its head deep down. You feel remorseful. If you have a weapon in your gear grid, gain a guilt token and roll a d10. If the result is less than or equal to your guilt tokens, you question your motives. Select your favorite weapon to be disarmed. Oh, that is going to be terrible. So I have to do this with all 3 of our Smog Singers. We'll start with this one right here. So 3 spaces away is going to be our scout. That's the closest threat because that's the first target it's going to do is closest threat. The next one is going to be this one. Closest threat is Perrin. I should probably tell you what each of these people are. This is Perrin up here. This is Egwene right here with the full rawhide leather set. And of course, as we go forward, I'll be able to create some miniatures that look like what our characters are holding onto. This is going to be Layla. And of course, the top person then will be Rand right there. That means that this person is also going to gain a guilt token because it does say here, if the monster turns to face the gut, its empty hands, remorseful, your gear grid gains a guilt token if you have a weapon. Oh, if I have a weapon. She does not have a weapon, so she will not gain a guilt token. He will because he has a weapon. And also, this person is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away from here and here. So I could choose either one of those to gain a guilt token. I think I'm going to have Rand gain the guilt token token, just because I don't know what these are going to do, and I'd hate for her to have a detriment with her huge rawhide armor set. So I'm going to be handing out these tokens to those particular people. Rand is going to gain one, and also Perrin is going to gain one up there. Perrin will take the red tokens, so we have a set of these for our characters all set to go. And I'll be placing them down on this card right here called Red Hands. Now at this point, I do have to roll for our 2 people to see if we drop our weapons. I need to get a better than a 1. This is going to be Perrin, and that's going to be the other character. Our guys are totally fine. We do get to keep our weapons. Let's see what we can do to these Smog Singers, hopefully quite a bit. From what I understand, each one of these is not a particular enemy. They're all considered one enemy. So when we do get to, when we remove the AI deck from here and we're able to do the damage to add this card right here, then we have defeated them. You're not going to have to defeat each one of these individually from what I understand. All right, let's see who is going to go first. Let's have Perrin with the giant Crocborn hammer go first. He is going to use his move action to move 1, 2, 3 to right there, and he is going to make an attack. Our Crocborn hammer has a 7+ for accuracy, and I don't think I have anything else that's going to help me with that. So I need quite a big number in order to get these guys. I did get a 9, so I did do 1 hit. We're going to take our top hit location and see what we have found. We have found ourselves the soft back breasts. Your attack strikes a row of engorged back breasts. Smog flexed with gold particles billows from the nipples. All right, so I'm going to roll the die and see how I do. There's nothing bad about this, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to roll our die and say, we got a critical hit. Wow, what a great way to start this game. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Let's see what it says here. It says critical, gain 1 random. Is that, I'll have to figure out, these symbols are sometimes a little small. If you have 3+ guilt tokens, full move toward the monster. If adjacent, you bite off a chunk of flesh. All other survivors gain a guilt token at the sight of your bloodied, smeared lips. Then archive this hit location and inflict an additional wound for every 3 guilt tokens you have. I don't have any guilt tokens on myself, which is kind of sad, because that'd been really good to do all that damage. If you had a ton of guilt tokens, that's out of control. All right, we're going to do some damage. So we are going to do the 1 wound to the monster. Now, I don't believe I archived this because I did not have 3+ guild tokens to do the extra damage, so I think this stays here. Now, this is a monster resource, so I'm going to mix up our monster resources here. We have a whole ton of Smog Singer resources that we can use when we get back to our settlement. So we're going to give these a quick truffle shuffle, give it a cut right about there, and we're going to gain ourselves, what is this? A fluttered severed head. Oh my gosh. When you gain this, the survivor of your choice gains +1 insanity. Okay, that's fantastic. We're going to gain this, and the person who has no insanity is about to gain 1, and that's going to be Layla. That will bring Layla up to 1 insanity. Now our bloodied hands will kick in. It does say whenever you wound a monster, you feel terrible and gain a guilt token. You are only guilty when you have 3 guilt tokens. That's our second guilt token. I do want to mention I have this song card here. It does say spend an activation right here to unlock your heart and start singing flip this card. Now I don't know what any of those cards do. Maybe we'll try one later on, but for now, maybe we'll have somebody go do this action that's not really good at anything else. Like they're not the best fighters, so we can give it a shot to see what those are. Another thing I want to do is before I were to make that attack, I would have actually rather been there to make the attack. And the reason why is because I have that guardian ability on him where I can allow somebody to reroll a die and give myself part of my observation here. But the only way I can do that is if somebody is standing next to me. So I need to get somebody up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could get her up there. He has a ranged weapon, so I'm not going to go running up there. And she's not going to be able to make it up there. So at this point, I am going to use Egwene next. Egwene is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that is not something that is not signs of things to come. Her arm came off, but that's okay. They're magnetized. They can go right back on. At this point, I am going to now make my attack. Now, the only thing she has is a founding stone. The founding stone only hits on a 7+, but I do have 2 accuracy, so I get to roll 2 dice. Hopefully we'll get one of those through. I did. I got a 9, so that means we did hit again. Let's draw our next hit location. This time we've got first strike, which means I have to attack this first. That's the only thing I'm doing. Opening its mouth in a silent scream, the monster engulfs you in an overwhelming smog. Reroll your successful hits from this attack with a -2 accuracy penalty. Discard a hit location for each H miss. Oh, that's yucky. This is the undulating belly slime. All right, so I have to re-roll my only hit at -2. So the only thing I can hit on is a natural 10, a natural 10. Boom! It hits. That's so good. So now that's not the damage. That's just my roll to hit, I believe. Let's see here. It says after you have successful hit from this attack, then -2 discard for hit location. So I didn't. So now at this point, now I can try to wound that location. Now I only get +1 strength to the roll, and the toughness for these creatures is 7. But Gwen does have +1 strength, so I get +2 to this roll. We'll see how it goes. Well, I need to actually put it in the dice box in order for it to count. We got a 9, so that is another hit. We're going to take another wound and stick it in the wound stack. That's not a critical. I do not have +1 luck. Maybe I do. Let's check. No, she does not have any luck. She does have Lumen, which was, for a second there, I thought I was super excited, but wish they would have named that something different. So it doesn't look like I have luck. Rand's movement is not that great. He's going to move 1 over here and throw his darts. His darts do have a range of 4 spaces, so he's just going to throw these darts with 2 speed. They also have a 7+ and are going to have +2 strength. He'll roll 2 dice, needing a 7+ again in order to hit. I did not hit, but Rand does have +1 accuracy, so that 6 does hit at a 7. We'll draw our hit location and see what we have wounded. Downy Gurry holding hand. Downy gut holding hand. All right, wound. The monster, okay, so I have to roll. There's nothing that's, I do have a wound reaction here. So we'll see what we can do. I do get +2 strength, plus I get +1 strength for my character. So that gives me +3 strength in order to wound this. Let's see how we do. I got a 9, so that does wound the monster. I don't believe he has any luck. Let's check out what he has. Oh my goodness, he does have luck. He's got +1 luck. Rand, that was amazing. So now that 9 does turn into a critical because of his luck. He'll be able to critically wound this. I can't believe this. Critical wound. The monster cradles its limp hand and whimpers. Gain 1 random resource. A dark corner of your mind relishes the pain you inflicted. Gain the Morrow Hunger impairment and remove all guilt tokens. I've added Morrow Hunger to his impairments, which I believe have to do with some cards or events that we have to do. Now, also, I've been forgetting about my knowledges. I do have accuracy training. Whenever I hit the monster, I get to gain an accuracy training bonus here. Also, I have tenacity. So he's supposed to have gained when you depart, you gain a survival token, and you may spend the survival token any time to gain a survival. I'm going to do that. I'm going to gain my survival. I'm going to go back to 2 survival. And on that note, I can add this to my tenacity. So now we have 2 survival, and I gain 1 towards my theory or observation for tenacity. I apologize for the bookkeeping, but there is a lot going on. I do have another tenacity here, and that's for this character here. She is also going to spend her token at the beginning of her turn to go to 4 survival, so that she has max survival. We have finished our tenacity 1 for her, so we're going to be able to gain tenacity 2 at this point. Tenacity 2 states that when you depart, you gain 2 survival tokens. You may spend a survival token any time to gain a survival. And when you spend these tokens, you will be able to continue your observation. This time I have to spend 6, so we'll change this to 6 boxes that I need to in order to be able to get the next one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm on tenacity 2, and I will depart her survival token times 2. There we go. All right, so that is fantastic. That is done. Also on top of that, I get Desperate Strike. Desperate Strike also says whenever you perform a perfect hit, gain +2 strength. Remember, she hit, then she had to re-roll her die, and she got a natural 10, so that is a perfect hit, so she is going to gain 1 towards that. At this point, we'll continue on with the battle. I apologize for the bookkeeping, but there is a lot going on. I do get to remove my guilt token, and I get a random monster resource. We're going to be able to gain ourselves a fluttered bone. It states at the bottom here, you may archive this to play a tune. If you do, roll a d10 on an 8+, gain any music innovation from the settlement innovation deck. Oh my gosh, that's actually kind of really good. That's really neat. All right, it is a bone, so that is kind of nice to have for our future. We have just a few people left. The next person that's going to go is going to be Lelia. She's going to move up 1, 2, 3. She should be here 1, 2, 3 to right there, and she's going to make an attack. She has the Blood Glass Dagger. The Blood Glass Dagger does allow her to roll 3 dice. Another thing I want to mention is when I arrived, I should have gained a survival and an insanity for our character, bringing her insanity to 2 and her survival to 4. At this point, we'll roll our dice. I need a 6+. She does not have any extra accuracy, so we'll just see how this goes here. I did get a 1 hit here. That's good enough for 1. I see what it says here. Honed 3. This has +3 strength until its edge is ruined after wounding or parrying a super dense hit location. So right now I do have 3 strength on this weapon, which is pretty awesome. Let's see what our hit location is. It's our first strike. It states here, which one's this? Undulated Tail Slime. Withering on the ground, the monster contorts into impossible shapes. Reroll your success hits from this attack with -2 accuracy. Discard hit locations for each time. If you have a 7+ guilt tokens, gain +7 luck to wound this location. All right, I do not have any guilt tokens, so I'm just going to re-roll this, and I am now at -2. I got a 9, and I needed a 6+, so 6 + 2 is I needed an 8+, so I still did wound that location. So at this point, I will now roll to see if I do wound the location. I got myself another 9. I don't think she has any luck. I'd be super lucky if I did, but she does not. She does not have any luck, so that is just going to be a normal wound. So we'll place another card into the wound stack. At this point, every person that hit would gain a guilt token. So everybody has 1 guilt token except for Perrin. Perrin has 2. And of course, Rand has 0 because he got that critical hit. I do have my scout left. My scout is going to scout this. We'll roll a d10 and see what we found. We got a 2. I bet that's going to be absolutely nothing. It says right here, you find nothing. Archive this terrain. Oh, sad. This thing goes away. We found absolutely nothing. Now at this point, I have to decide if I want to actually use the scout for combat or keep it out of combat and run like into a corner so she doesn't die. Most likely she's going to be running into a corner so she doesn't die. Now, I do have to go -2 movement with this, which is something I forgot in the last one. So I'm going to move back 1, 2, 3. If I need to bring her back into the fight, I can, but for now, I think she's going to be fine just right there. I would hate for this to go completely bad with a card draw or something, because remember, I have never fought these before, so I have no idea what they could do. They could attack and destroy anything adjacent to them or something, and that would be absolutely terrible. I'm going to need her to bring all my stuff back if something bad happens. It's time for us to draw our next card. I have to admit 4 hits, 4 wounds. I'm liking that. Let's see what this one says. Pluck your heartstring. Guiltiest threat. No song of Smog. Move and synchronic attack target. All right, this is going to be bad. It's going to move 2, accuracy 4, 1 damage. It's going to do vibration damage. If a survivor suffers damage from this attack, the monster's face twists with remorse. Full move away from the target. All right, let's take care of that. And remember, each one is going to do that. The target is going to be the guiltiest threat, and from what I understand, I do not actually have any guilty survivors, because according to our bloodied hands, it does state down here at the bottom that whenever you wound a monster, you feel terrible and gain a guilty token. You are only guilty when you have 3+ guilt tokens. I don't have anybody with 3+ guilt tokens, so it's going to go ahead and no target Song of Smog. So that is what it's going to do. The Song of Smog is on its reaction card here. It says the monster moves 3 spaces away from as many survivors as possible and assumes the peaceful pose. The monster is knocked down. If you wound a knockdown Smog Singer this round, gain an additional guilt token. All right, so all these are going to move 3 spaces away. 1, 2, 3 over here, and then it's going to be knocked down. So it's going to be facing like that. This is going to move 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing it's, well, actually it's just going to go 1, 2, 3 as far away from them as they can. Knock itself down just like that. And this one's also going to move 1, 2, 3 away from as many as possible and knock itself down. It's in its peaceful pose. And that's the end. That's all it's going to do. I can see how this works. This is kind of really cool. At first, they're not going to do as much to you, but I'm guessing as you become more guilty, they're going to obviously start working more of their magic. I'll tell you right now, if this would have actually fired off, it would have gone chaining straight through all 3 of those. Another attack would have came through here, chaining all of them, and another attack would have come from potentially up on top and chaining back down through all this. So it would have done an absolutely monstrous amount of damage. But lucky for us, none of us are actually guilty at this point. Let's get some guilt tokens. Let's see what happens. We're going to do, this is going to be a really interesting way I'm going to do this. I am going to start with her. She's going to move up to here. And then in between my character's action is a survival opportunity. I'm going to use that opportunity for him to dash. He is going to dash up to there. Now I'm going to make an attack against that Smog Singer. The reason I'm doing that is because he can allow me to reroll a die using his Defender ability or Guardian ability. I apologize. He's got this ability right here. It says, after an adjacent survivor makes a roll, you may intervene, gain 1 systemic pressure token to re-roll one of the roll results. Limit once per showdown. And of course, I'm going to be able to gain knowledge this way, and I get one of these whenever I do this. So I'm going to try to get this activated as fast as I can. So to do that, we're going to probably try to re-roll one of these rolls against this thing. Now the monster is knocked down, so I do not need to worry about the 7+. I need a 3+ in order to hit. And I hit with both hits. So we're going to grab the top 2 cards and see what we have found. We have found ourselves the Fleshy Armpit and the Forlorn Face. The Forlorn Face has a wound reaction. It says the monster shamefully hides the ugly hatred on its face. Reveal the top 5 hit location cards. Discard any that are not the trap. Then shuffle the remaining hit location deck without the discard pile. Without the discard pile, that's terrible. All right, the next one is Reflex. This one, of course, will happen no matter what. It says the monster shamefully hides its ugly hatred on its face. The same. It says the same thing. Reveal the trap type hit location. Oh, it's the same thing. Roll location. Oh my gosh, it's the same thing twice. All right. We're going to start with the Fleshy Armpit because, well, I'm going to have to hit it anyway. The reflex is going to go off. Let's roll it up. I need a 5+. I did wound that location, so we're going to draw the top 5 hit location cards. We got them right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to flip them over. None of them are the traps, so we're just going to discard those. That was horrible. Now we're going to go to the wound location and see if we're able to wound it. I got a 6, so I wound that. So good news, I did 2 wounds to the enemy. Bad news, I just lost 10 hit location cards. We have to draw the top 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is. And we do not have any of the trap in there, so we're going to discard all of those. Our hit location deck has now just dwindled down to this. That is absolutely terrible. I don't think I'm going to like this very much. I did not get any perfect hits. I did not get my tenacity up or my fear. I did not take any damage, so I'm just going to gain 2 of tokens, so I am now considered guilty. I have 3 tokens. Now that we've wounded it, I think we do stand it up at this point. I could be wrong, and if I am, let me know in the comments below, but I think once you wound a monster that is on laying down, you do stand it back up. I'm going to attack now with our next character, Perrin. Perrin is going to attempt to hit this monster. It is in the back, so we'll see how this goes. Now, sadly, I think we know exactly how this is going to go. I'm going to roll 2 dice. I'm going to hit, and then I'm going to find the trap. Let's see how this goes. I did get a perfect hit. There is nothing that happens on a perfect hit for him, except that he draws a hit location card. And he has found not the trap. It says right here, Smoggy Liver. Reflex, full move the monster towards the attacker if adjacent colorful smog pours into your mouth. A rush of emotions leaves you blushing. Gain +1 insanity as you begin to sing. Flip your song card face up. Well, about to see what the song card does. Let's see if we're able to wound this monster. Now, I do get +2 strength to try to wound. I got a 7, +1 is 8, +2 is 9, 10. That is enough to wound. So we are going to take the top card and put it in the wound stack. And now I'm going to gain a survival, or not a survival, I apologize. I'm going to gain 1 insanity and flip over song card. We did wounds. We are going to take one of our tokens. We are at 3 tokens. He is also guilty. I'm going to gain an insanity. We are at 2 insanity here. And then I get to flip over my song card, which is kind of cool because I don't have to spend an action to do it. All right, let's see what these song cards do. I have no idea. Off key, survivor status. When this is turned face up, remove all your guilty tokens. Maybe all my guys are going to sing. We'll remove all our guilty tokens. That's fantastic. Then it says, you sing, but you never quite get the rhythm or pitch right. You are terrible. At the start of your activation, choose 2 actions or 2 movement and gain that instead of a movement and an action. Interesting. So if I can keep that thing right where I am, I'm going to be able to really do some damage to it. So the good news is I still have a couple survival, so I could use potentially a dash to move in, and then instead of using a move and an action, I could start using 2 actions to just start beating these things down with my enormous, awesome club of death. I'm going to move in with Rand next. He's going to move 1, 2, 3 to right here, and he can shoot with his finger darts. He has a range of 4 with these, so we're going to use those to try to hit this guy. The finger darts have an accuracy of 7+. Let's see how we do with that. I did get 1 hit. We'll draw a hit location card and see what has happened. We're going to do the downry cheek. It says here, reflex. With a startled shriek, the monster moves 4 spaces away from the attacker. If still standing, the attacker may pursue the monster. If they do, their aggression is shocking. A survivor with the least guilt tokens gains 1. Pursue. Gain 1 action which must be spent immediately to move toward the monster. If you are now adjacent, draw another AI or another hit location card. It is, but that's not going to happen. We're just going to roll to see if we wound. I get +3 to my strength, and I have +1 strength with Rand. So we'll roll these up and see how we do. I got a 5 plus 3 is 8. That is enough to wound, so we're going to take another wound off the wound stack and put it in the stack. And now the monster is going to move, but I am not going to chase it. This monster just moves 1, 2, 3, 4 right to there. Rand is going to gain 1 of my guilty tokens, and we're going to move into her turn. She is now going to move up, and she is going to attack with her glass dagger. That gets to attack with 3 dice. She only needs a 3+ in order to hit that creature, and I am really worried that that trap is going to be somewhere close to this. Our dagger does need a 3+ in order to hit because the monster is on the ground. I hit with 2. Actually, I'm kind of happy about that. Hopefully I don't find the trap. We have found ourselves a dowry throat and a, what is this? Steel glass belly. This is an impervious, super dense location. Reflex. Air whistles as the monster inhales. Its gust expands rapidly with pressurized air, making a nigh invulnerable. If adjacent, you suffer bash and knockback 6. You are so impressed, you gain +1 insanity. All right, so we're going to deal with this one first, I think. Thrashing in panic, the monster moves 4 spaces away from the attacker. I could choose to stand. If you're still standing, the attacker may pursue the monster. If they do, the aggression is shocking, and all the survivors at the least gain 1 token. I can pursue with that action, which must be spent immediately to move towards the monster. If you are now adjacent, draw another hit location. All right, well, let's see what this goes like. All right. I'm going to try to wound this location first. I get +3 because my dagger is still honed. It has not dealt with a parry or super dense location yet. I got a 7, so that does wound the location. So I am able to do a damage to it. I'm going to take the top card and place it into the wound stack. And this Smog Singer is now going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to right there. And I am going to chase it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to chase this thing down. Which means now I get to draw another hit location card. On top of that, she is going to gain 1 of the guilty tokens for wounding that location, and somebody else is going to gain 1. Which one gains it? It says here, still standing, if they do, the aggression is shocking. A survivor with at least 1 guilt token gains 1. So I can just choose anybody to gain 1. I'm going to choose Rand. Rand only has 1 token, so he's going to gain another token. He now has 2. We're now going to we're going to draw another hit location and see what happens. There are barely any hit locations in here. Oh my gosh, I didn't find the trap. Okay, this is a floating back ribs. The monster panics, excreting smog laced with fear hormones from as many nipples. If the attacker is guilty, primal fear overtakes them. They full move away from the monster and suffer brain damage equal to the monster level. Well, lucky for me, she only has 2 tokens, so she's not going to be guilty unless she wounds this. Then she will be guilty, and then she'll have to deal with that. All right, since I've got everything going on here, I'm just going to roll the die right here and see what we get. We get a 3. I don't think that's enough. +3 is 6 because of my honed, and I get 1 strength, so that's going to be a 7. The toughness on these creatures actually is 7. So I was able to wound this location. So we're going to take another card, take it off the deck, and at this point I am going to have to deal with this because I did wound the monster. I'm not sure the order of how this all is going to activate. I am going to put the token on there, making 3, so she is now guilty. If I'm wrong that she should get this after the card resolves, please let me know in the comments below. But at this point, I am going to full move away from the monster and suffer brain damage equal to the monster level, which is 1. She's going to turn and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to there, and she's going to lose 1 brain damage. She is down to 0. She has no brain damage available to her. Oh, I lied. She has one. She has one brain damage left, or one insanity. I apologize. There's only one person left. She's going to move 1, 2, 3 to right there. I probably shouldn't have moved her away. Now that I think about it, maybe she should have gone and investigated that, because I've noticed that the scout is really good at just checking all the neat things that are on the map, all the different like locations and different terrain, and she can deal with all of those things while our normal survivors take on the monsters. Now, I don't believe this card is ever going to come into play. This is the other one that was part of the attack that I made, and this doesn't have first strike on it, so I could have chose to do this second, which I did, and during all of this, I hit and then again ran away, so I wouldn't have had to deal with this card at all. This card had nothing to do with anything because of all the other things that happened with the throat and running and chasing it down and doing all the fun things. It is their turn. Now, sadly, they only have 2 cards left, so I've been doing really good. I'm going to lay these down here. I'm just going to roll a die, see which one gets the highest number, and that's what we're going to take. This one got a 2, and this one got a 3. So we're going to draw this card and see what we have found. It says, pluck your heartstring, guilty as threat. So this is going to happen because I do actually have a guilty character this time. Now, sadly, this is going to be very bad. These are going to be attacked by multiple people. The first thing is I have to move. This one says move and synchronic attack. So this character is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right to there. I'm sorry, that was off camera a little bit. And then it's going to make it synchronic attack. I believe that means it's going to attack. And it's going to attack everything that is in this path right here. So everybody right down the aisle is going to get hit here, which is going to be her. Now, lucky for me, she does have some survival, and there is a survival action. She's going to spend her only survival to dash 1, 2, 3 to right there. And that way she won't get hit, but she's going to be hit because of the target. She was targeted, and she's going to now be attacked. Now, I couldn't do a dash for her because it would move and synchronic attack. So no matter where I dash, it would only be after it picked its target, so it would probably be able to hit me almost anywhere I go on the board. This target does have 2 speed, and it has 4+ to hit. So we'll roll these up. It got a 2 and a 5, so the 5 will hit. And I don't think Lelia has enough evasion to dodge it. No, she does not. So she is going to take 1 reverberation damage. According to the reverberation card, I get to choose where the damage goes. There is only 1 damage. I'm going to choose for it to go to the head, which is going to knock this down to 2, but I'm just going to erase it because after the damage is done, I have to discard all fragile gear, and this skull helm is fragile, so that's going away. It's not going to help me anymore. Our next target is going to be right there, and that means this one is going to turn and move 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there. Now remember, he has already dashed, so he cannot dash to get out of the way of this, but he can. He is going to dash to right here, and that way he will not get hit by this blast. That puts Rand down to 1 survival, and now I'm going to make an attack against both of these creatures, and survivors, sorry. And since this is a synchronic attack, whatever I roll will affect them, and they can do things on their own to try to prevent their damage. Again, it gets to roll 2 attack. It needs a 4+ in order to hit. It hit both times. I do not have enough accuracy to deal with this. And on top of that, I cannot use my reaction or my survival to dodge this attack. So both Perrin and Gwen are going to take 2 reverberation damage. I get to choose where these go, so I'm just going to do the arms and the waist, mainly because those only show up on the die once. I want to keep my head protected, and for some reason I always like to roll the legs. So we're going to do that. Now I do have an ability here that says that I can fear, I think is what it is. Fear here states whenever you suffer damage, I get to gain a box. So we're going to go to our fear portion of this and cross in another box. Now that is the final box for fear. So we're going to gain fear 2. She now has this ability, Fear 2. It states here, when a monster targets you, you may spend 1 survival to suffer the flee brain trauma limit once per showdown. All right, I'm going to replace that fear card with this one, and then I'll change this part of our board while off camera. Perrin also has to take 2 damage, so I'll take 1 to the waist and 1 to the legs. That's totally fine. We're at 1 there and 2 there. There's 1 Smog Singer left. It stands up and moves to there and turns and makes an attack that way. Again, we're looking at a 4+ here, and I got hit by only 1. 1 we were able to not get hit by. Perrin will take this one to the head, bringing his defense down to 2. I would normally not take it to the head, but the waist and legs are already at 1 and 2. And Gwen will take 1 to the legs and 1 to the body, I guess. So we have 1 across the board on all of our parts. I know the trap card's coming. There's no way to get through it. There are 2 hit location cards that I have left to draw, and there's 2 damage that I need to do 3 damage to take or to get a victory in this game. So I know I'm going to hit the trap. It's just a matter of who is going to trigger it. The person with the most armor seems like the likely candidate, so I guess it's going to be her. She's going to attack here, and if I can at least hit twice, then I know that I've caused the trap to happen. She does only have a founding stone, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to roll 2. I need I think like a 6+. I did hit once, so I will hit once. Now there are 2 cards. There's a chance that that card on top, which is that one, is not the trap. And if that's the case, somebody else is going to take the hit. It's going to be bad news. All right. Oh, we did find the trap. Okay. It says here, Smog of Murder. Okay, reshuffle the hit location deck. We'll do that. It says, the Smog singers turn red with anger. Their faces contorting with rage. The attacker gains a guilty token. All survivors are doomed. If the attacker used a ranged weapon, full move all Smog singers toward the attacker. Well, I did not. The attacked Smog singer begins to sing a harsh tune. The attacker and all survivors in the song zone suffer you have to do an event called Emotional Breakdown. Resolve these story events one at a time. Oh my gosh. Okay. So so from what I understand, not all of them are going to do this. Just the one that I attacked, and since I didn't use a ranged attack, it's going to be the one that's adjacent to me. So the one that I attacked is this one, so I believe that's the one that's going to do this Song of Murder. I believe it doesn't say each one of them does this. And it does say that the attacked Smog singer begins to sing. So this is going to be the one that sings. It's going to hit anybody within range 3. So 1, 2, 3. I think this one is in range of this Smog singing extravaganza. It's going to be 3 down and 3 over, I think. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So anybody like around, basically, so these 3 are in big trouble. Lucky for him, he's 1 space out of this, I think. Before I do all that, I am going to grab 1 more guilty token for her. Wow, if that doesn't picture emotional breakdown, I don't know what does. That's an emotional breakdown for sure. This guy, our characters are in big trouble. Emotional breakdown. Your atlas joints shift, your skull cracks loudly, and a new sound rings in your ear. You hear the devil's melody. So at this point, we will choose the result based on the number of guilt tokens I have. Interestingly enough, Perrin and Lelia both have 0 to 3 tokens. Lelia does actually have 3. So they're going to deal with this one. It states, you meet the monster's gaze without guilt. A tear swelling with glittering smog emerges from the corner of your eye. Gain 1 understanding, limit once per showdown. Now, if I have 2 or 3, it does bring me to this area. It says, if you are singing and the settlement has any music innovations, you are distracted by the top notes of the melody instead. Your cochlea recoils in disgust. Forever deformed, suffer the deaf, severe head injury, and stop singing. The person that had those tokens is not singing, so that does not happen. Instead, both of those characters gain 1 understanding. Now, I did look at this wrong. If you have 0, this is what happens. If you have 1 through 3, you're supposed to do this one. So only Perrin gains the +1 understanding because he has 0 tokens right now. The other character, Lelia, will have to suffer this. It says the melody descends like a searing curtain over your body, and you felt blaze into aching motion. Full move away from the monster and suffer brain damage equal to the monster level, which is 1. So Lelia will move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from those monsters. And she'll gain brain damage equal to the monster level, which is 1. So she is going to lose the only insanity she had. She now has 0 insanity. Now we're going to get a little bit worse here. I have 4 guilt tokens on Egwene. Egwene states, a guilt whipworm manifests in tune, jiggling your organs and increasing vigor. Shaken and lose your balance. Suffer vibration damage equal to your guilt tokens and bash. So I'm going to suffer 4 damage. I'm just going to erase all of this. We're just going to take all 4 wounds just like that. Totally fine. That was all reverberation damage. She's now knocked down, not the end of the world. All right, we survived the trap. That wasn't too bad. All right, I'm going to have to mix up the hit location deck again. So we're going to give this a good old truffle shuffle and get everything all mixed up again. Now, of course, hopefully I don't find those hit locations that keep putting me discarding hit locations. Those are brutal. All right, that hit location deck is all set to go. And since he's standing right here, why don't we just have Perrin go ahead and make his attack? Now remember, he has that ability now that says at the start of your turn, you act. Choose either two movement or two actions. Gain those instead of a movement and an action. So I'm going to use 2 actions to just smash these things into next week. Our hammer does have an accuracy of 7. We'll roll up our dice. I got a 9 and a 6. Now I think I do get +1 accuracy across the board with my characters. Nope, that is not true. So I only hit once. We'll draw our hit location, and we have found ourselves a crossed arm, 6 crossed arms. Wound. The monster turns to face the attacker and spits a deep bass note as red smog pours from its nipples. All survivors in the zone of hate suffer 3 damage to a random hit location and bash. Oh, that's absolutely terrible. I don't want that at all. Hopefully I missed this. Let's see how we do. I'm going to try to wound it. I got a 7 + 2 is 6 + 1 is 7. So I hit and wounded him. That's fantastic. We're going to lose one of our cards here. They are down to 2 cards left. They have one AI card and the basic action. Now, sadly, we have to now deal with the wound. So now this person's going to get knocked down, and I'm going to do 3 damage to both of those characters. And this is to a random hit location. So we're going to roll hers right here. I got the hands, and then I'm going to roll his, which is going to be the waist. Now I believe that I can use my survival to dodge this attack, but I cannot dodge that attack because he's the one that's being attacked. But this person, I think there's a survival action where that person can use the dodge action. Now, I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments below. I do know that the person that's being attacked cannot use any survival when they are getting attacked or when they're dealing with the reaction cards from the hit location, but I believe the people that are around him can use survival. So she's going to dodge that with one of her survival. Bring her survival down to 3. Of course, I get to roll a D10. Maybe I get to keep it. Yes, I get to keep it. I got a 6. Now, unfortunately, he's going to lose 3 to the waist. Good news, he still had 1 left in the waist, so he's going to take 1, 2, 3, he would be knocked down anyway, so that's not the end of the world. He already is. Since he was knocked down, he can't perform his second action. I am going to have her move up, and she's going to investigate the incense and see what we find. We're right on the incense. I got an 8. We'll see what that shows up on our Smog incense here. Our Smog incense says 8, gain survival level, event survival, so I get 1 survival, and heal your survivor. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Heal my survivor. That's really good. And then I archive this train. Okay, so this train is now gone. So now I can actually walk through it and not take any damage. But I'm not going to walk through it. She's moved up and investigated. This character is going to fire with the darts on that one. My darts roll on a 7+. Let's see how we do. I got an 8. That's going to be 1 hit. We'll draw our hit location card, and we have found ourselves the fleshy forearms. There's a wound. Thrashing in panic, he moves 4 spaces, and I can choose to pursue if I want to. I have +2 strength to this. Let's see how we do. I got a 9. Now, I don't think he has any luck. He's not the one with the... He is the one with the +1 luck. Oh my gosh, Rand is amazing. Rand has +1 luck, so that is going to become a critical wound. It says down here, gain 1 random Smog Singer resource in fear. The monster signals a plan with its bloodied forearms. Reveal the top AI card. Well, the only top AI card, the only AI card left is this one, because we're going to wound that one. So there's no AI cards, just that one. I do get a token. He's up to 3 of those guilt tokens. And at this point, I get, what else do I get? Gain a random Smog Singer resource. In fear, the monster signals a plan. Okay, so I get a random resource. We have found ourselves a whistle tooth. Fingers size holes adorn these teeth. There's only 1 person left. She's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there and attack with her dagger. We get to roll 3 dice with our dagger. I did miss the accuracy training on Rand, so Rand has gained his 2nd towards his accuracy training. We'll roll these up. I got 3 hits. I needed a 6+, and I've got 3 5s, and she has +1 accuracy. No, she doesn't have +1 accuracy. She only hit once, and actually that's just fine. I only like to hit once. And she's able to hit the lolling eye. If you have 7 guilt tokens, gain +2 luck to wound this location. I do not have 7 guilt tokens. I got an 8, and this thing is still honed, so that is easily enough to wound the monster. The monster only had this card left, so we have defeated the Smog Singers. We were able to defeat a level 1 group of Smog Singers, so we're going to gain 1 Hunt XP, a reward, weapon proficiency, and rewards. For defeating the Smog Singers for the first time, we're going to get the Colosseum settlement location, and then we're going to get 4 basic resources and 4 Smog Singer resources. It does say down here there is an ability called Concord. If the showdown ends in victory on both sides, I don't know how that happens, gain Hunt XP and weapon proficiencies, but instead of rewards, the Smog Singers teach the survivors a song, and they gain the Song of Concord Innovation. If they already have it, nothing else happens. Maybe we'll have to try to work towards this goal in our next attempt against the Smog Singers. Here's the Colosseum, where it gives us a whole new set of armor that we can go for, and some new weapons, and it looks like instruments, which kind of makes sense. We got the singing heart, we got a pipa, we got a harpy harp, we've got a drum. There's, of course, a dagger and a harm fluter. So there are some weapons that we can potentially get. Then on top of that, we get 4 Smog Singer resources. So we're going to shuffle these up just like that. And we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on top of that, we're going to gain 4 regular resources as well. We'll give them a quick truffle shuffle just like that and grab 1, 2, 3, and 4 for those as well. And we'll see what our characters are going to be taking back to the settlement. First off, we have ourselves a pink flesh, we have a gaseous belly, we have a delicate hand, and we have a whistle tooth, another whistle tooth. Oh, we have a perfect bone, a broken lantern, a monster bone, and we have a monster organ. So we do have some things to go back. We didn't get many, it doesn't look like we have many hide this time. We have a couple hide, looks like, and lots of organs. We actually have a pretty good mix of stuff. So there you have it. We were able to defeat these Smog Singers. Super fun fight. I'm excited to try this fight again. It was really cool to see that trap come up, and I really like the way that this one discards hit locations, so that trap is pretty much going to happen. I think that's really cool. I like the guilt tokens. I think it'll be interesting to see those continue and see how things progress. Now, I don't ever want to get that trap with a lot of those guilt tokens. Look like things got really bad really fast. So we were able to take them out. We do have our scout. I think they all turned out pretty awesome. We're going to go back to the settlement now and go on our next hunt. So please let me know what you think we could possibly do with the resource we have and who we should go fight next. Should we go for another crocodile, or should we go back to the Smog Singers? It'd be interesting to know in the comments below what you have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the fight against the Smog Singers. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so we'll see you know when more Kingdom Death monster content comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please feel free to join the Patreon. The link to that is also in the description of this video. Those that have joined the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It does mean the world to me. Now, moving forward, I'll probably have my Patreons decide, once people give me an idea of what they want me to go for, I'll let my Patreons make the final decisions for us, because that's what my Patreons do. They're able to affect the game as we go forward. They're going to help me decide what our survivors are going to craft and gain, and also they'll help me decide who we are going to fight next. But please put in the comments who you think we should fight next, because maybe giving me an idea and the Patreons an idea of what we should fight will influence how they are going to vote. We'll see how it all transpires. Another perk that the Patreon supporters do get is they'll be able to see all of my playthroughs, usually about a day or 2 ahead of time, without any commercial interruptions. So there you have it. The Smog Singers were defeated. Thank you again so much for watching. And if you're excited to see more Kingdom Death or anything else that Colin and I have coming, then I need you to meet me at the table.